Gentlemen, today we dive into a realm few understand, the psychological truths about women that most men completely overlook. These insights aren't for manipulation, but for wisdom, connection, and powerful awareness. When used wisely, they elevate your masculinity and your relationships. Most men assume that what attracts a woman is primarily physical, a muscular build, good looks, or height. While these can catch a woman's eye, they rarely hold her attention long term. What truly captivates a woman, often on a subconscious level, is a man's emotional strength. This is a depth of inner control, calmness, and the ability to remain composed regardless of external chaos. Emotional strength isn't about suppressing feelings or acting like nothing affects you. It's about having the capacity to face discomfort, challenges, and even emotional pain without letting it destabilize you. To a woman, emotional stability signals safety. It tells her you're someone she can lean on when the world feels unstable. You don't get triggered easily. You don't need constant reassurance. You don't fold under pressure. When she sees that you can handle your own emotions and even more, hers too, she feels safe. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. That's the kind of safety women crave far more than financial wealth or physical dominance. This is why emotionally reactive men, those who argue over small things, who take things personally, or who sulk when they don't get their way, are quickly viewed as weak, even if they appear tough on the outside. A man who is easily thrown off center becomes emotionally exhausting to be around. On the other hand, a man who knows how to stay calm, communicate with purpose, and not be led around by his emotional state becomes a powerful presence in a woman's life. What most men don't realize is that emotional control is one of the most masculine traits you can possess. It creates a quiet power, one that doesn't need to shout, doesn't need to prove, doesn't need constant validation. And women pick up on this power instinctively. It's not about acting robotic or distant. It's about mastering your own internal state so that no matter what life or a woman throws at you, you remain grounded. A woman's emotional world can be intense, chaotic, unpredictable. She doesn't want you to match that chaos. She wants you to be the calm in her storm, the anchor in her whirlwind. When you embody emotional strength, you give her something incredibly rare, a man who doesn't get lost in her emotions, but who knows how to stand firm in the middle of them. That, to her, is irresistible. A lot of men misunderstand what's really happening when a woman tests them. They think it's manipulation, that she's playing games, or trying to be difficult for no reason. But in truth, most of the tests women give are not conscious or malicious. They are deeply subconscious behaviors rooted in evolutionary psychology and emotional instinct. A woman's tests are her way of finding out who you truly are beneath the surface. She's not always aware she's doing it, but it's her natural mechanism for determining if you're the kind of man who can be trusted, respected, and followed. These tests often come in subtle forms. She might question your decisions, disagree with you just to see how you respond, act distant to observe your reaction, or challenge your authority in a small way. If you overreact, become defensive, or try to overly explain yourself, you unknowingly fail the test. Because what she's really watching for isn't the content of your words, it's your energy, your presence, and your ability to stand grounded under pressure. She wants to see if you crumble or if you stay centered. When a woman tests you, she's looking for strength, not just physical strength, but mental and emotional resilience. She wants to see if you'll maintain your composure, keep your frame, and respond from a place of confidence rather than fear. It's not about winning an argument or being the loudest voice. It's about remaining calm, composed, and certain in who you are, regardless of how she's behaving in that moment. These moments are opportunities, not obstacles. They allow you to show your masculine core. If you see her tests as attacks and react emotionally, you communicate insecurity. But if you see them as chances to reinforce your boundaries and demonstrate self-respect, you signal strength. Over time, these consistent responses build immense respect and admiration in a woman's mind. She learns that you cannot be manipulated, pushed around, or emotionally swayed like a leaf in the wind. Many women don't even realize they're testing. It's not always premeditated. It's instinctual. Just as men are wired to detect beauty and fertility cues, women are wired to test for strength and leadership. When you pass these tests, not with arrogance or coldness, but with calm confidence, she feels safer, more secure, and more attracted to you. She wants to know that if life becomes difficult, if emotions run high, if things go wrong, you'll still be standing firm, that you won't run, collapse, or beg for her validation. She wants to feel that you can lead with clarity, not be led by emotion. Her subconscious is always scanning for signs of weakness, not to hurt you, but to know if she can trust you to be the man you say you are. Women are emotional beings by nature, and their emotional depth is something many men struggle to fully understand. The common mistake men make is trying to approach women with logic first, assuming that facts, reasoning, and explanations will fix emotional situations. But in the female mind, emotion often comes before logic. Her feelings about something usually take shape before her rational mind has fully processed what's happening. This doesn't mean women are irrational. It means they are wired differently. Their brains are built to connect deeply to emotion, to sense tone, energy, mood, and nuance far more intensely than most men do. And this emotional attunement plays a major role in how they communicate, connect, and bond. When a woman is upset or emotionally charged, trying to correct her feelings with logic is a losing game. She doesn't want to hear why she shouldn't feel the way she feels. She doesn't need you to fix the situation with bullet points and strategies. She wants to feel understood. She wants to feel safe expressing herself without judgment. And most importantly, she wants to see if you can handle her emotional world without shutting down, trying to dominate the conversation, or distancing yourself. If you meet her emotional intensity with cold logic or dismissiveness, she'll feel unseen and invalidated. But if you meet her with presence, patience, and calm, she'll open up and trust you more deeply. This is where emotional intelligence becomes crucial. It's not about being emotional yourself, it's about being emotionally aware. When a woman shares her emotions, she's not always looking for a solution. She's looking for a connection. She wants to know that you're tuned into her, that you can hold space for her without judgment or discomfort. That's incredibly powerful in the eyes of a woman. Most men either withdraw, argue, or try to shut it down when emotions rise. Very few can stay grounded, listen without trying to fix, and reflect her emotions back to her in a way that says, "I see you, I get you, and I'm not going anywhere." This ability to connect on an emotional level is what creates real intimacy. It's what separates the man she trusts from the man she tolerates. If you can understand that her emotions are not random or illogical, but rather her way of processing the world and feeling safe, you begin to see that emotion isn't the problem, your reaction to it is. Women are often drawn to men who can create a container for their emotions, men who don't get reactive, who don't take things personally, and who don't collapse under emotional pressure. Being emotionally grounded doesn't mean you become passive or overly accommodating. It means you lead the situation with presence and calm authority. You're not trying to silence her or dominate her, but you also don't allow her emotions to dictate your own. You remain the steady rock in the midst of her emotional waves. And over time, that builds a level of trust and attraction that no amount of money, looks, or status can replace. Because at her core, a woman doesn't just want to be heard, she wants to be felt. And when she sees that you're a man who can feel her without being consumed by her, she knows she's found someone rare. One of the most misunderstood aspects of female psychology is how deeply attraction is tied to uncertainty and mystery. Men are often taught that the way to a woman's heart is through constant validation, availability, and reassurance. While those things may provide a sense of security, they rarely inspire passion or lasting desire. In fact, when a man becomes too predictable, too available, and too eager to please, something subtle but powerful begins to shift in a woman's mind. She starts to lose interest. Not because she's ungrateful or playing games, but because human desire, especially female desire, thrives on curiosity, anticipation, and a touch of the unknown. Women are naturally drawn to men who evoke a sense of adventure and emotional unpredictability. This doesn't mean being emotionally unstable or manipulative. It means not laying all your cards on the table at once. It means you have your own life, your own rhythm, your own interests and ambitions, and you don't feel the need to constantly explain or justify yourself. There's a mystique in a man who moves with quiet confidence, who keeps parts of himself unrevealed, not out of secrecy, but out of self-respect. Predictability, though comforting, can quickly become dull. If she always knows where you are, what you're doing, how you feel, and what you're going to say next, the emotional tension that fuels attraction begins to fade. She no longer wonders about you. She stops fantasizing. She stops imagining different possibilities. And once the imagination stops, desire quickly follows. This is why women often say they miss the chase or the excitement. In the early stages of a relationship, it's not necessarily about the thrill of the unknown man, but about the emotional tension and curiosity he created through his mystery. When you maintain a degree of unpredictability, you become more than just a man. You become a mental and emotional puzzle she wants to figure out. She starts thinking about you when you're not around. She wonders what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and that wondering creates emotional investment. She begins to lean in, trying to get closer, trying to uncover more of you, and in doing so, her desire deepens. This is not about playing hard to get or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about maintaining self-possession. It's about not being so emotionally available that you become boring. It's about knowing that desire isn't built through constant proximity, but through selective exposure. Give her access, but not all access. Share your thoughts, but not every thought. Let her know you care, but don't make her the center of your universe. Men who master the art of subtle mystery create an emotional pull that keeps women coming back, not because they're manipulative, but because they're layered, complex, and not easily figured out. That's what keeps attraction alive. That's what makes you linger in her mind long after you've left the room. When you become the man who doesn't always explain himself, who moves with quiet purpose, who keeps a little space between himself and others, you create a vacuum of curiosity, and that curiosity is the breeding ground of lasting desire. A powerful yet often overlooked truth about women is that they are more deeply influenced by how you make them feel than by what you do or say. Most men think attraction is primarily built on physical appearance, wealth, or status, and while those things can play a role, they are not what create lasting emotional impact. What truly lingers in a woman's mind is the emotional experience she has when she's around you. Women are emotional processors, and their memory, their attachment, and even their loyalty are shaped through feelings, not just facts. This is why you can say all the right things and still not leave a mark on her heart. Because if the emotional tone behind your words is off, she feels the disconnect. On the other hand, you might say very little, but the way you carry yourself, the way you look at her, the emotional energy you bring into the room, that can make a lasting impression that words never could. To a woman, presence is everything. Your emotional presence, your ability to be in the moment with her, to really see her and engage her without distraction, creates an emotional imprint that's hard to forget. This is also why some men who may not be the richest, best looking, or most socially dominant can still be incredibly attractive to women, because they know how to tap into her emotional world. They understand the power of subtle gestures, a certain look, a pause in conversation, a confident silence, a calm response in the face of her chaos. These moments make her feel something deep, something she can't always explain, but that she craves more of. And it's not just about making her feel good all the time. In fact, the full spectrum of emotional engagement, from curiosity and tension to comfort and laughter, is what creates the deepest bonds. Women remember how you made them feel in moments of uncertainty, how you made them feel when they were vulnerable, how you held yourself when she challenged you, how you supported her without losing yourself. These emotional fingerprints are what shape her overall perception of you, not your resume, not your Instagram, not your ability to recite romantic lines. When a woman thinks about a man long after he's gone, she's not replaying his compliments in her head, she's reliving how she felt in his presence. She remembers how her body responded, how her mind raced, how her guard slowly dropped, how her emotions shifted. And if those feelings were intense, rare, or hard to replicate, she will naturally seek more of him, whether she realizes it or not. This is also why being emotionally inconsistent can be so damaging. If one day you're calm and grounded, and the next day you're reactive and emotionally immature, she'll start to question her safety around you. Emotional inconsistency creates confusion, and confusion in a woman's heart leads to withdrawal. But when your presence consistently creates peace, curiosity, and emotional stability, she not only feels drawn to you, she becomes emotionally anchored to you. Understanding this gives you a major advantage in relationships. It means you stop focusing so much on saying the perfect thing, and you start focusing on being the man who naturally evokes powerful feelings through your energy, your tone, your timing, and your depth. Because in the end, the man who can shape her emotional world is the man she will never forget. One of the deepest psychological truths about women is that they are profoundly drawn to masculine leadership, not the controlling, domineering kind, but the grounded, calm, and purposeful presence that makes them feel safe and inspired at the same time. Feminine energy, by nature, is fluid, emotional, and ever-changing. It seeks structure, direction, and containment, not because it is weak, but because it thrives in the presence of something strong and steady. When a man embodies masculine leadership, he becomes an anchor in the emotional ocean of a woman's world. He gives her space to express, to feel, and to be, all while knowing that he will not be thrown off course by her emotional waves. This leadership is not about barking orders, demanding submission, or trying to impress with force. It's about leading through presence, vision, and emotional composure. It's the man who knows where he's going, who makes decisions confidently, and who doesn't rely on her approval to feel worthy. It's the man who takes initiative, not just in planning a date, but in life. He doesn't wait for things to happen. He creates movement, direction, and momentum. That kind of energy is magnetic to the feminine. A woman may not articulate it in words, but her entire body responds to it. She relaxes, she softens, and she opens up when she feels that she's in the presence of someone who can carry both himself and her. This also means taking responsibility for your actions, your emotions, your decisions. Masculine leadership is not about perfection, but about ownership. When things go wrong, a man who leads doesn't point fingers or make excuses. He takes full responsibility and finds solutions. He doesn't get caught in emotional chaos or spiral into anxiety when things become uncertain. Instead, he becomes more focused, more grounded, more decisive. That steadiness calms her nervous system and makes her feel like she can let go of the constant need to control everything because she knows you've got it. And here's where most men get it wrong. They either try to control a woman directly, or they completely withdraw and let her lead everything. Both extremes are unattractive in the long term. True leadership means leading yourself first, mastering your thoughts, emotions, and purpose, so you naturally lead the dynamic of the relationship without needing to overpower her. You don't need to control her behavior, because your energy already sets the tone. You lead by example, by clarity, by vision. You lead by making decisions that reflect your values, by knowing where you're going in life and moving with confidence toward it. When a woman senses that, her respect deepens. Her trust in you expands, and with trust comes emotional intimacy, vulnerability, and desire. Because at the core of every woman is the question, can I follow this man? Can I trust him to lead me when I can't lead myself? If the answer is yes, her attraction grows beyond logic. She'll want to be close to you, to support you, to pour into you, not because you demand it, but because your masculine essence evokes that natural response in her. This leadership also shows up in the small things: how you handle conflict, how you hold boundaries, how you plan and follow through, how you manage your time and emotions. Women notice everything. They are constantly evaluating not just your words, but your energy. And when you embody leadership without ego, when you walk with quiet authority and emotional intelligence, you become a rare man, one who leads without needing to dominate, who inspires without needing to prove, and who earns respect without ever demanding it. So, if you truly want to understand women on a deeper level, go beyond the surface. Recognize that beneath the words, beneath the behaviors, lies an emotional world shaped by instincts, desires, and subconscious patterns. Most men operate blindly, reacting to what they see without grasping what's truly happening underneath. But the man who learns to see clearly, to read emotions, to hold space, to lead with strength and subtlety, becomes unforgettable. Use this knowledge wisely, not to manipulate, but to connect with authenticity. Because when you understand the psychology of women, you stop chasing them and start attracting them naturally, effortlessly, and powerfully.